Nobody prepares you for what money does to the people who already know you. Not the money itself, the perception of it, the idea of it, the distance between what you have and what the people around you have, or think you have, or think you should be sharing with them. You have been told your whole life that family is unconditional, that the people who knew you before the money will be the ones who stay after it, that blood means something permanent and loyalty means something real. Some of that is true, but only some of it. And the part that is not true will cost you more than any bad investment you ever make, because a bad investment costs you money. The wrong people cost you time, energy, clarity, and in the worst cases, the wealth itself. This is the story of what actually happens to your relationships at every level of wealth. Not the version people post about. The version that happens at 2 a.m. when the phone rings and you already know what the call is about before you answer it. Level 1, $0 to $10,000. You have nothing, or close to nothing. And the interesting thing about having nothing is that nobody wants anything from you. Your family treats you normally at this level because you are normal at this level. You show up to holidays, you split the bill, or someone covers you, and it is not a conversation. You are one of them, financially, socially, emotionally. Nobody is watching what you drive. Nobody is calculating what you earn. Nobody is keeping score, because the score is not interesting yet. This is the last level at which money is invisible in your family relationships. Everything after this, every level above this, money becomes a presence in the room, even when nobody acknowledges it. At this level, your family gives you advice freely. Your uncle tells you what jobs to apply for. Your mother has opinions about your spending. Your cousins tell you what they would do if they were you. The advice is unsolicited, and sometimes wrong. But it comes from a genuine place, because at this level, nobody has anything to protect. There is no hierarchy. There is no resentment. There is just family, in the ordinary, complicated way that family has always been. Remember this level. You will miss the simplicity of it in ways you will not be able to fully explain to anyone who has not lived above it. Level 2, $10,000 to $50,000. You start to get your footing. Maybe you get a better job. Maybe you pay off a debt. Maybe you save your first real emergency fund. And for the first time in your adult life, you sleep through the night without calculating whether the account will clear before the rent posts. At this level, something small but significant shifts in how your family sees you. You become the person people call when they need a small amount of money. Not large, small. $50, $200, the kind of request that is framed as temporary, just until payday, in a tone that assumes you will say yes because you clearly have it and they clearly need it. The first time this happens, you say yes because you do have it, and it feels good to help, and you believe it when they say they will pay it back. They do not always pay it back, and the second time the request comes, you say yes again because saying no feels like a betrayal of something. Family, loyalty, the version of yourself that you want to be. The third time, you say yes more slowly. By the fourth time, you have learned something that nobody taught you, and that money has been quietly teaching you since the moment you had more of it than the people around you. Helping people who do not help themselves is not generosity. It is a subscription service with no cancellation option. At this level, the advice from family does not stop, but it changes in tone. Now your uncle has opinions about why you think you are better than everyone. Your mother worries you are working too hard and not spending enough time with the people who matter. Your cousins joke about it. The jokes that are not quite jokes about how you must be doing well, must be saving up, must have something put away. The jokes are information. File them. Level 3, $50,000 to $250,000. This is the level where the dynamics shift in a way that is no longer subtle. You have built something real, not wealth by any serious definition, not yet, but stability, a cushion, a savings account that does not make you anxious to look at.
Maybe a small investment portfolio. Maybe a down payment on a property. The kind of financial foundation that took years of discipline and sacrifice that nobody around you saw because you were building it quietly. And now that it is visible, or visible enough, you find that the family members who had the least to say when you were building it have the most to say now that it is built. The requests get larger. They come with more detail now. A specific amount, a specific reason, a specific urgency. A family member needs $5,000 for a medical bill. Another one needs help with rent. Another one has a business idea and just needs a little capital to get started. The requests are always reasonable individually. The problem is they are not individual. They are continuous. And the people making them have no awareness that the same request they are making is being made by 4 other people in the same family at the same time to the same person. You are not a person to them at this level. You are a resource. Not consciously, not cruelly. Most of them genuinely believe they are asking for help the same way they always have. What they do not understand is that the scale has changed, and the dynamics have changed, and the fact that you have more than them does not mean you have unlimited access to what they need. At this level, the family conversations about money become more frequent and more loaded. Holiday gatherings develop a subtext. Someone always brings up how well you are doing, loudly, in front of everyone, in a way that is half pride and half pressure. The implication is that doing well means you owe something to the collective, that your success is not entirely yours, because you came from all of them, and therefore all of them have a claim on what you have built. This is the family tax. It is not on a form, it has no official rate, but it is real, and it compounds the same way interest does, slowly at first, and then faster than you can manage. Level 4. $250,000 to $1 million. You have crossed a threshold that most people in your family
Will never cross. And they know it, even if the number is never stated directly. At this level, something structural changes in how the people around you relate to you. It is not just the requests, though the requests continue. It is the way the room feels when you enter it. The way certain conversations stop. The way your opinion is simultaneously more sought and more resented. The way people who ignored your judgment for years now bring you their problems not because they value your perspective, but because they have identified you as someone with the resources to solve the problems they bring. This is the level at which family members begin to involve you in disputes that have nothing to do with you. A sibling is having financial trouble and somehow it becomes your responsibility. A parent needs something that your other siblings cannot provide, and somehow you are expected to cover it, not because you were consulted, but because it was assumed. The assumption of availability is one of the most corrosive things that happens to wealthy people inside family systems. People stop asking, they start expecting. At this level, you also encounter the first family members who actively pull away. Not the ones making requests, they stay close. The ones who pull away are the ones who are proud and feel the distance between your situation and theirs as a kind of defeat. They do not call as much. They decline invitations. They become cooler at gatherings and warmer when you are struggling, which tells you everything about the nature of the warmth. You will feel this pulling away as a loss. It is a loss. But it is also information about the actual architecture of those relationships that the money has made visible. The money did not change those relationships. The money revealed them.
Level 5. $1 million to $5 million. You are a millionaire. That word carries a weight in the culture and inside your family that is disproportionate to what the number actually means in the context of building real, lasting wealth. But the perception is its own reality, and the perception at this level is significant. At this level, the family dynamics split clearly into 2 categories. The first category is the people who love you and are genuinely proud of you and who you can trust with the truth about your situation. These people exist. They are fewer than you hoped, and more than you feared. They do not ask for money. They do not change how they speak to you. They call on your birthday and not when they need something. They are honest with you when they disagree with you. These are the relationships worth protecting at every cost. The second category is everyone else. And at this level, everyone else becomes both more numerous and more sophisticated. The requests are no longer small and casual. They arrive through intermediaries, a family member who does not want to ask directly, but who tells another family member who tells you. They arrive packaged as opportunities, not requests for help, but invitations to invest in something that will benefit everyone. They arrive with business plans now, pitch decks, ideas that need capital and that somehow always involve you providing the capital and someone else controlling it. You will be asked to invest in restaurants that will fail, in real estate deals that do not pencil.
In businesses run by people whose qualification is that they share your last name, the pressure to say yes is enormous, because saying no at this level is no longer framed as being cautious. It is framed as being selfish, as forgetting where you came from, as thinking you are better than everyone. That framing is a manipulation. It is worth naming clearly. Choosing not to fund a bad business is not selfishness. It is judgment. The same judgment that built the wealth they are trying to access. The irony is perfect, and the people applying the pressure cannot see it. Level 6, $5 million to $20 million. At this level, you stop explaining yourself. Not because you become arrogant, because you have tried explaining and you have learned that the explanation does not change the expectation. The person who believes you owe them something will believe it regardless of your reasoning. The person who resents your success will resent it regardless of how humbly you carry it. The explanation costs you energy and produces nothing. This is the level at which the family structure around wealth either stabilizes or fractures permanently. The stabilization happens when expectations have been clearly set, boundaries have been maintained, and the people in your life have adjusted to a version of you that includes the wealth as a fact rather than a resource they have claim over. The fracture happens when the expectations were never addressed and the resentment has compounded over years into something that cannot be resolved at a family dinner. Most families fracture. Not dramatically, not with a single confrontation. Slowly. Through the accumulation of unaddressed assumptions and unmet expectations, and conversations that were needed and never had. You will grieve this. The version of your family that existed before the money felt simpler and warmer and more real, even when it was complicated and hard. What you are grieving is not the relationships themselves, but the version of those relationships that existed before money made the power dynamics visible. At this level, you also discover something unexpected. The loneliness of wealth is real, not the loneliness of having no one around. There are always people around. The loneliness of not being certain why they are there. The question of who would still be in the room if the number went to 0 is one that wealth makes impossible to answer with confidence. Level 7, $20 million to $50 million. At this level, you have more money than almost anyone in your entire extended family will ever accumulate. The number is large enough that it exists in a category of its own in the minds of the people around you. And something shifts that is difficult to describe but unmistakable when you experience it. People stop asking. Not because they no longer want things, because the ask has become too uncomfortable, even for the people who were comfortable asking before. The gap between your situation and theirs has grown large enough that the request feels humiliating to make. There is a paradox at this level. The more you have, the less people directly ask for. And the more they manage their behavior around you in ways designed to position themselves favorably without ever having to make an explicit request. The family members who remain close at this level have done one of two things. They have accepted the wealth as a fact of your life that belongs to you and does not change the fundamental nature of your relationship. Or they are playing a very long game.
you will not always be able to tell which is which. This is the permanent condition of significant wealth inside family systems. The uncertainty does not go away. You learn to hold it. What you also learn at this level is that the family members who stayed when you had nothing, who knew you at level 1, who were in the room before the money made the room complicated,
are the most valuable people in your life. Not because of what they will do for you, because of what their presence confirms about who you actually are and where you actually came from. The money changed many things. It did not change that. What nobody tells you. Here is the truth that sits underneath all of it. Money does not change people. Money reveals people. The family member who becomes difficult when you have wealth was always that person. The wealth simply created the conditions in which that quality became visible and consequential. And that includes you. The way you handle having more than the people around you, the grace or arrogance or anxiety or generosity or fear with which you carry the difference, that is also a revelation. The wealth does not create your character. It tests it at every level and at every interaction in ways that feel personal but are actually structural. Every wealthy person eventually learns the same thing. The money is not the hard part. The people are the hard part. Managing relationships across a wealth gap that you did not design and did not choose, that is the skill nobody teaches and everybody needs. The relationships worth keeping are the ones that survive the visibility of the money, not the ones that disappear when you have it, not the ones that only appear because you have it, the ones that are fundamentally unchanged by it. Those people are rare. They are worth more than any number in any account. Protect them accordingly.